And the transition movement, just to recap very quickly, it started in England in 2005. It's built around building community resiliency in response to global changes around the 3 E's, the economy, energy, and the environment. We did start a farmers market, and I'll show a video on that. It's right at the crossroads in St. Margaret's Bay. And, you know, we're half an hour from Halifax, so people said, well, wait a minute, you got a big farmers market in Halifax, and then there's one down in Hubbard's, half an hour the other way, so what the heck do you need another farmers market for? So there's always the naysayers, but we said, no, no, no. You know what a farmers market is all about. Half of it is just buying stuff, but the other half of it's the community that it gathers. And everybody's saying hello to everybody, and how you doing, and what you been up to, and all that sort of thing. So that's a lot of the benefit of the market. That's why we've done it. It was a great success. We also started right across the parking lot, very visible location, an educational vegetable garden. So we had a whole crew of volunteers show up on one day, and we did a blitz, and we installed a good modest sized garden, and we planted it with things that are fairly easy to store, were easy to grow and easy to store, just as an educational piece, with signage, what the varieties were, what you had to be, the fact that deer love some things and not other things, real kind of practical advice. And part of it was an instant garden, meaning that there was no raised bed, it was just grass. We showed up and put cardboard down, dumped garden soil and horse manure on top of that, about 6 inches deep, 8 inches deep, sprinkled some lime, planted potatoes. Had a great crop, and by the time the cardboard breaks down, the grass is dead, and everything just grows right through, and you don't have to turn over sod or any of that stuff. The other thing that we started is what we're calling a neighborhood greenhouse. So there's one greenhouse that is attached to a garage, 7 feet by 18 feet, not a big greenhouse, but we organized a sort of a neighborhood cooperative, and starting in March, and it went until about May, every other Sunday afternoon for 3 hours, people would come over and they would plant all the seed trays, every kind of vegetable that you could think of. And then during the week, the person who lived there just kept it watered, which is 5 minutes a day maybe. And we produced maybe 6,000 starter plants, all vegetables, and it all went to probably 15 to 18 home gardens. People took home, vegetable or lettuce starters, tomato plants, and everything else that you could think of. And it was just a neighborhood cooperative. And now we're trying to kind of replicate that. So we're identifying where there's other greenhouses in the area, who is interested and willing to invite in the neighbors, make it a cooperative effort, that kind of thing. We're working in the background on local currency. We talked with the Chamber of Commerce. We talked with businesses about a currency called the Bay Bucks. Couldn't resist the name. There's also another currency that we may launch in the spring called the Carrot, which is spelled like the diamond, the C-A-R-A-T-S, but looks like a vegetable. And that is going to be a currency where if you're a gardener and you've got a large garden and you need help, but you don't want to pay cash to somebody, you pay them in carrots, whatever the cash amount is, and then they can come back in the fall and redeem their money in vegetables. So, and we're trying to figure out a way where it can be pooled, so more than one garden can be issuing these, and then you have broad-based currency that's backed by vegetables. We've worked a bit with Lisa Wolf at Ross Farm Museum on the whole idea of reskilling or learning old skills. And then we went on to have, we're planning a series of events to teach people old skills. So we just had one back in October on food preservation. We took over the teaching kitchen at the local superstore. 35 people signed up. It was an all-day workshop. We had 6 different speakers come in, and we went through every aspect of food preservation that at least we could think of. So we started out with food dehydration and drying, and food dryers set up, passing around samples, that kind of thing. There was a session on canning. We did jams and jellies. We did fermentation, so that's sauerkraut and pickles, all that sort of thing. We did freezing, you know, both the just Ziploc bags, but also the vacuum sealing and all of that kind of stuff. And then we did drying herbs at the end. People loved it because, you know, at the beginning of the workshop we asked who had done much. And because we were concerned we'd be talking to the converted, so to speak. But it was fantastic because I think 90% of the people had never done any canning. You know, they didn't know you've got to get the canning, you know, the big pot and all of that stuff. So it was fantastic. The level of uptake of everything we've done has been fantastic. Pretty well every event has been sold out. So it's been great that way. And we're on the right track. We're striking a chord in the community, and we really need to continue, broaden the base, broaden the depth of awareness and appreciation. People seem to like what we're doing. So I think that's been very encouraging for us.